From the time the pilot's dispatcher called MDTA police and the bridge was ordered closed was 52 seconds. 52 seconds.
The 6 victims were fathers, husbands, and friends in their homes and communities, and they were valued members of the construction workforce.
It is unimaginable. If you can imagine yourself at 2 or 3 in the morning falling, 100, 200 feet into the water, steel and concrete crashing around you.
I think the bridge itself, once the port reopens, is on a 2028 schedule. Right now is the preliminary estimate to get that bridge back open.
Yesterday, we released our preliminary report, which shows that the Dolly experienced 4 total power outages. Preliminary information indicates that the March 25th blackouts were mechanically distinct from those that occurred on March 26th. 2 were related to routine maintenance in port. 2 were unexpected tripping of circuit breakers on the accident voyage. On the 26th, when the ship was about 0.6 miles from the bridge, 1 high voltage and 1 low voltage breaker that were powering most of the vessel's equipment and lighting unexpectedly tripped. As a result, the vessel lost main propulsion. Bridge equipment also lost power, and the voyage data recorder lost system feeds. Bridge audio continued to be recorded. The crew was able to briefly restore power to the vessel, but another blackout occurred when a different breaker tripped. At this point, the ship was about 0.2 miles from the Key Bridge. The crew regained electrical power right before the Dolly struck Pier 17, but they were unable to restore propulsion. Going forward, this is a complex investigation. Our investigators have been on scene consistently since this accident. In fact, they are on board the vessel as I testify today. It is unprecedented to be there that long.
It is a monumental task to clean up the site and rebuild. And yet, as I appear before the committee today, I have a great feeling of optimism, witnessing the ability of industry and government entities to work together in times of calamity, as they have done in the weeks since the bridge collapse.
It was probably some of the riskiest diving operations you can have. Tethered divers going down, water you certainly can't see to the end of your fingers with. We were guiding them by sonar, really, steel sticking out, and they did it amazingly safely. Job's not over yet, and our commitment is to continue that safety record until the federal channel is completely cleared.
What about the cost for the bridge?
So right now, the way that the RFP is being structured, it will be a progressive design build. So you go in and you say, this is the structure that we need to build, and then the benefits of progressive design build is they can bring in different elements. So that's why the cost and the schedule will update as the different elements come in. But right now, it's estimated $1.7 to $1.9 billion.
What is the plan to replace the bridge? My constituents are not wanting to pay for this thing. In my view, the company or the country responsible for the incident should be footing the bill, not the U.S. taxpayer. If the U.S. is ultimately going to pay for this bridge, it better come out of funds that we've already allocated.
We're $35 trillion this month in debt at the federal level, and I wonder if you think it's fair that the American taxpayer should not only pay to reconstruct the bridge, but then pay tolls after which to use the infrastructure they just paid for in their taxes.
And I want to get at this issue of perhaps there being some people in the country who are not inside the state of Maryland who resent having to pay for this bridge reconstruction. Administrator Bott, can you tell us how this bridge collapse impacts interstate commerce?
Thank you for your condolences and for the question, Congressman. I think, I've been the Secretary of Transportation in Delaware, in Colorado, and I was a deputy in Kentucky, and I think that, what is so critically important for our transportation system is that you can drive from New York to Los Angeles across a system that is completely uniform, is set to standards. And what is happening, I think we've learned through the Port of Baltimore, is that that highway system is tied into ports. It's the third busiest port in the country. So there are jobs that are being impacted, there's freight movements that are being impacted, there are neighborhoods that are being impacted. And so, yeah, this is not just an issue for Maryland, it's an issue for the Northeast Corridor and for our national economy.
Administrator Bott, to my understanding, one of the ways the Federal Highway Administration responded to the disaster was by reclassifying the bridge as an interstate. Tell us more about the purpose of that reclassification and how will that help with speedy bridge repair?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. We received a request from Maryland DOT shortly after the bridge disaster to reclassify, and so we went through the usual process that we would do for any state DOT that was asking to come in. I think our assumption had been that it was part of the interstate since it was shielded and was on maps that way. Just going back, the difference will be that instead of being part of the NHS, it will be officially it is now officially part of the interstate and goes from an 80-20 cost share to a 90-10.
Major General Graham, does the Corps have an updated timeline for when the full federal navigation channel will open?
Our commitment is to have it fully open by the end of this month, sooner if possible.
One thing I will say, and I hope that we walk away from this in considering, is the federal government states, bridge owners, they need to evaluate current structures and make sure if you have navigable waterway that you are doing a risk analysis to ensure safety, to ensure there's adequate peer protection.
To watch the entire hearing, visit our website at cspan.org.